Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking. So about a month ago I made this react video where I reviewed the information presented during one of the latest History Hits videos that was talking about the Romans and the Greeks in a comparative key. Now the original video is very long, so here I was just reviewing the section where they compared Roman and Greek weapons. Today, however, we're going to review the section which is focused on Greek and Roman armor. And I'll be honest, I have quite a few things to say. So, prepare for pedantic Metatron. Don't forget to click the link in the description and pinned comment to check out the full video. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, let's have a look at the armor. What are they going to say?
The next point is armor.
I'll start with this one. I mean, we'll go from top to bottom. We've got an interesting replica of the classic Roman legionary helmet of the early imperial period. Now, of course, it gets a bit more armor added to it and reinforced over time, as I'll talk to. But this one seems, well, first of all, the Roman legionary helmet wasn't meant to be very heavy. There was discovered in a field in Suffolk the Hawkton helmet, which some believe is actually, although it looks similar to a Roman legionary helmet, they believe it's a gladiator's helmet because it's much heavier and more kind of used for maybe like 20-minute bouts as for a gladiator.
And it seems
but the Roman helmet was not meant to be like overly heavy.
Of course.
You have a lot of protection for the wearer. First of all, mainly made out of iron, maybe a bit of brass around as well. But you have, first of all, let's talk about this rim guard at the front. This is to protect against slashing weapons down, because one of the main areas that an enemy will be trying to attack is the face. So you've got added protection for the rim guard, and also to kind of prevent blows from hitting like the nose and the front of the face, because you don't have that noticeable nose guard as you do with the like classical Greek hoplite. You've got these kind of flappy cheek pieces as well. Once again, that's extra protection.
This is true, but what he just said only applies to the Corinthian helmet. There are plenty of other helmets in Greek army that have zero protection for the face. So I wouldn't say, I know that they are comparing these two only, but these two are not the only representatives of a typical Greek helmet and a typical Roman helmet. They are in our collective imagination right now, but there are a lot of helmets like that are completely open in the face here for the Greeks as well.
Against slashing swords and so on that you'll be facing for an Iron Age warrior and so on. You have at the back this big neck guard as well. Once again, the same kind of thing, extra protection against people wanting to slash down on your face. Over time, I don't really see how much you can see on this one. This one looks a bit of kind of decorative design. There is a bit of contested debate around the beginning of the 2nd century AD when the Emperor Trajan invades Dacia, which is modern day Romania. And the Dacians, I'm sure you know, they're renowned for having this double-handed, scythe-like polearm slashing weapon called a falx. And apparently, well, it is contested, but one line of argument is that because these falxes were so devastating when slashing down, to give the legionaries extra equipment, they had a kind of like almost crossbars to the top to kind of help absorb more of those blows.
Can I be obnoxious for a second? Probably people will click away. He did say that the backplate was used to protect the face. The backplate was used to protect the neck. Thank you. That's the condescending Metatron of the day.
But that is the standard kind of design of a Roman legionary helmet. Further down you have perhaps the most recognizable part of a Roman legionary's armor, which is the Lorica segmentata. Now I love the Lorica
As seen in Asterix comics,
As seen in Asterix comics. At the same time, we don't know what the Romans called it. Lorica segmentata literally means segmented armor, and that's the modern name for it. We know they called chainmail hamata, but we don't know.
I actually think that, no, they didn't call that. He's incorrect with this one. So before I was just being funny, okay? I like him as a presenter. I was just being funny. With the neck, the face, he just misspoke. It's fine. I do it all the time. I'm the master of misspeaking. But this one he got wrong. The Romans did not call it hamata. Hamata is as much as a neologism as segmentata is. They called it gallica. Exactly, Ryan. Or they just called it armor. We have mentions for both. Sometimes they just called it armor, and other times they call it gallica. But Lorica hamata, which comes from hamus, which is the ring, it's not a period term, just like Lorica segmentata is not a period term. Some have speculated, I don't know if he's going to say that maybe instead of calling it segmentata, it was called laminata. And the only reason why that may be a bit more probable than segmentata, which is a neologism, is simply because we don't know what it was called, but we do know that what they called the actual segments of the girth hoops. And they were called laminae, lames, basically. So since we know they called those laminae, and one would be a lamina, then it is possible that they called it Lorica laminata, but we don't know, unfortunately.
What they called this style. And it seems to have been introduced around the beginning of the 1st century AD or just before that.
Just before,
and that is because some of the earliest archaeological evidence we have, and best archaeological evidence we have for the Lorica segmentata, comes from Germany and that site of Calcresa that I've mentioned, where you have basically 3/4 of this plate's armour, of this kind of segmented armour surviving. And archaeologists have been able to garner a lot from that beauty.
For those of you who are interested in the, I'm not correcting him, it's fine, he's speaking English, but for those of you who are interested in Latin and the precise phonemic vowel length, this vowel, the O and the E, are both long, so it's Lorica, and then segmentata. So this A is long, so Lorica segmentata is how you pronounce it. Hello, what you looking at? As you know, we have created a Metatron plushie for all of our fans and supporters, and we are really trying to hit 200 sales. We are 79% funded, and we have to hit 200 to be able to ensure the production. If you watching this right now were to get a plushie, we would hit 160, and then we would only be 40 short of ensuring production. If you like my content, please consider supporting me by getting a plushie today. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, as a modern Italian, I actually find it difficult to lengthen the O. Because as an Italian, I would either say Lorica or Lorica. I wouldn't, but the idea that I have to lengthen this, a bit like Romani, that's also another weird one that I have to lengthen the O, but that's how it is. Latin has a massive difference in terms of length of vowels, and it's phonemic, meaning that if you pronounce the vowel long or short, will influence the meaning of the word. There will be a semantic shift. That's, for example, how the apple in the Bible, in Adam and Eve, that's where it came from, because in the original Hebrew there is no apple. It's a round fruit. Full stop. We have no idea what kind of fruit that is. The only reason why in the Vulgate in Latin it became the apple is because you can create a little bit of a double, not a joke, but like a double meaning, because malus and malus, they sound almost the same, the only difference being the length of the vowel, and it can mean apple or evil. So that's why the apple is in the Bible in English and in Italian and in modern languages. In the original, it's just a round fruit. It could be a date. It could be an orange. We have no way to know.
Beautiful piece of kit. It's made up of about 40 iron plates, and it's fastened together with kind of copper alloy washers, and buckles, leather surviving on it too from that archaeological discovery from Calcresa, which gives people more of a sense of how it was tied together. And the fascinating thing there is not just the outside, it's the inside of the armour as well, where they found these buckles as well to kind of tighten it. The first version of it, it seems that it is just kind of almost kind of tank top-ish. There's not much shoulder protection. That is added later. There are later examples of Lorica segmentata, places like Corbridge and Newstead in Scotland as well, where bits have survived. And it seems that there's more arm protection, and also the outside buckles are removed and it's just kind of kept inside because they were seen to be a bit more, you know, it could easily get knocked off kind of thing and damage the equipment. No greaves in a Roman legionary soldier of the imperial period. There had greaves earlier on, at least on one foot, on one leg.
He's right.
But by this time there are no greaves at all there. And a manica, I guess, is the other thing to mention. It seems to be later on that this arm guard is added to their right arm, maybe during the Dacian Wars as well with the fouts, a bit of added protection, but we do know that manicas are added later on. I think I've gone through everything.
What is cool about the Latin word manica is that we still have the exact same word in modern Italian, pronounced exactly the same way, manica, and it just means sleeve. And it meant sleeve. It's just the same word. They didn't even bother to change it in 2,000 years, longer than that, in fact. So these are maniche in modern Italian. This is a manica. Kind of a cool little thing.
Is the armour of a Roman legionary soldier.
There you go.
Over to you.
Let's go.
Yes, so the Greek hoplites, obviously, they have very iconic armour, so it's very easy to sort of talk about it. This is the main item that I think is just widely recognised, the Corinthian helmet, right?
Yeah.
This gets introduced, or at least we first see it on vases, and then later we have loads and loads and loads of dedicated examples. So at Olympia, they have shelves and shelves of these, right? Wow. Corinthian-style helmets from the Archaic period. The funny thing is that around the time we mostly talk about the Greeks, in the classical period, time of the Persian Wars and after, until the time of Alexander. These things they're still around. Some people might use them, but they've kind of gone out of style. So this kind of thing is an early form of armor, which is very comprehensive, as you can see. It covers the whole face with these long cheek plates. It's got the nose guard. It's got this, at the back, you can see it's got a sort of neck guard here as well that extends quite far down. A little bit. It's kind of the same thing as the Roman helmet, just sort of less sticky outy, which is the technical term.
More similar to the previous Montefortino, which makes sense when it comes to the time